Okay, let me put these on so you can actually hear me better. Welcome back to a new episode here in SUALVI. In this episode, I'm gonna show you how you can make these eye or like a mask transition. I was asked to do these. I already did one a while back, but I realized that it was more of like a walkthrough and I show you what I did rather than a step-by-step of how you could make it. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to do it real quick and I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible so I don't take too much time. But okay, you can see the timeline right here, that this is the timeline, and it's gonna be a little bit laggy right now because of like my computer and all that stuff and a bunch of other, like, I have connected stuff, so bear with me if it is laggy. So this is sort of what it looks like. One thing also, I would recommend that you adjust or do like the color adjustments before. I had to add these after, and it's a little bit harder once you already have a fusion clip that mixes two different clips together. So if you want to color grade or do some color corrections or color stuff, do it before you actually add the effect to it. Okay, so let's just open up the timeline where I'm gonna show you step by step from the beginning as how I would do that, and we're just gonna do one part, which is gonna be the cat to the bird. Okay, let's get started. So we're gonna bring our this is a preview actually, so we're gonna bring our cat video first of all, and what you want to do is find the actual place that you would like the transition to happen, and for me it's gonna be around this time because later on the cat goes away. So we're gonna cut this clip right here, and also you want to take into account like how long do you want it to be, right? So we're gonna do 2 seconds. I'm gonna hold shift and I'm gonna go 2 seconds back. So then we're gonna cut this clip again, and I'm gonna show you why in a second. We're gonna bring this back up right here. The reason for why I cut this is so that I don't have to actually track the whole thing. So for that, we're gonna go into the color tab and we're gonna track the eye of our cat. So we're gonna right click here and add a serial node, and we're gonna add an alpha output. We're not gonna connect it yet, but here what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here to this section of the different shapes that we have, and we're gonna select this pencil or like pen, and then we're gonna zoom in and we're gonna just like draw the mask of whatever subject that you have. If you have a window, then you're just gonna make it like the shape of the object that you want to go through, and then I'm gonna soften it up a little bit, and then we're gonna go here, the node key, and we're gonna invert this. Right now we're not seeing anything because we need to connect this alpha output, and right now we see that, but that looks really creepy actually, first of all. But what we want to do is we're gonna animate these. So this is the color corrector 2, so we're gonna create a keyframe for these. And oh, before I do that, actually I forgot one thing. We're gonna go to there, and before you actually animate the opacity, you want to do is you're gonna go to the tracking option and you're gonna press track forward. And DaVinci Resolve does already a pretty great job of like following any subject that doesn't have a lot of like things going around, and this one is really short, so it's really quick. Okay, now that we have that tracking already happening and it's following, now we can add the opacity without getting it lost in the way. We're gonna animate these to all the way to 100. So that means that whatever it's behind these, we're now able to see in the actual edit tab. Okay, we're gonna go back, and right now we can bring our second video, which is gonna be the bird. And if we look at the bird, we can choose one where the bird is already there. We're gonna take the audio out of here for now, and right here we're gonna start these, or maybe we'll just leave it like that, and we're gonna use these, and we have it set up like that. One thing that I realized when I was making these is that I used the 3D section for this one and one thing is like you want to add that camera movement, right? So you can zoom in these a little bit to play around with it, but I'm gonna try to leave it as it is right now and not do anything onto this clip, and we're just gonna use that camera inside Fusion, and then we're gonna align the second clip, whatever we leave outside these, we're gonna align that with, and like by overlaying it and playing with the opacity. So I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we're gonna right click here and we are going to create a new Fusion clip, and then we're gonna open these in Fusion, And here in Fusion, this is what you're gonna see. You got this one, which is the green one, which is our cat video. And our cat video already has all the animations that we need, right? So we're gonna go and add a 3D layer to these. We're gonna add a 3D layer to these, and then we are going to add the merge node. And then we're gonna add a camera. And then lastly, we're gonna add a renderer. Now that we have that, we can connect the render here. Oops, let me get rid of that. We can connect the render to the media out, and we can get rid of this other one. Now we're gonna do the same with this other media that we have. We're gonna add the image plane and connect that to the renderer, to the merge node, I'm sorry. And now that we have here these, we're gonna press 1 so we can see our actual scene. We can bring our camera backwards by going out here and adjusting the point. So I think it's around 1.8 or something for it to be completely behind. It's a little bit less than that, so we're gonna go forward a little bit, position that a little bit closer to our actual footage. And we're seeing our bird footage first right now because we need to put these behind. And we're gonna try to align these a little bit like that, so when we go through the eye, that one is sort of like in the middle, and we're gonna animate that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna animate this camera movement. We are going to right click here to the translation part, and we can animate the translate group. If you want, you can also add a little bit of rotation to the camera as it gets closer to the cat, right? So we're gonna try to go and sort of like animate it completely. So what we can do is to make it smoother, we're gonna have to do a few steps, and we're gonna go to frame 24 first, and we're gonna bring it as close as we can to the cat, and try to see if we can actually sort of like catch the eye of the cat as it is transitioning right there. Now that we have that, because if we leave that keyframe there, it's gonna sort of stop there, right? So we're gonna try to use that as our guide and move it forward a little bit. We're also gonna have to move our other image plane in the back so that it's completely like that, moving like that. And since you see this, we can see the side of it here. We want to adjust the rotation for these also a little bit. So we're gonna have to move these closer to these like that, and then adjust it so it gets closer to the bird like that. So that seems like a rather fine place to be. And if we check the preview window right here that we have, you'll see that is why I didn't want to have this keyframe right here, right? So that is why we have to go to the spline tool with the camera selection, and here we can adjust these position a little bit so that the actual camera is going in the correct place. So we see that red line, and we want that red line to go through the eye of our footage, right, of our subject. And we can select everything and press F, and then if we go here and we press S again, it's sort of gonna try to make it smooth it out a little bit, so that when we're really close here, it does actually goes through the eye like that. And we see these right here, we can see the edge of these, so we don't want that to happen. So what I'm gonna do is here, I'm gonna create this keyframe for our camera rotation, and the next frame we're gonna rotate it a little bit on the on the Y axis, just a tiny bit, so that when we keep going forward, it's a little bit sort of like center, and then we can bring it all the way back to zero normal as it gets closer to the end. So that is what it looks like. That is pretty much the basic of it. That is all you would have to do. You can add more things and make it more complicated, but that is the basics of what you would go through. And this is sort of like the easiest method, because if you do it on the edit page, you have to zoom in and make things really big, and that will just be really hard. So by animating the camera, it's actually easier to make it happen that way. And if you want, you can add like movement to your actual images so they are a little bit more alive. But yeah, this is the easiest way and the simplest method that I used. So yeah, this is the simplest method that you would go about doing this type of transition. And remember, mask transitions do take a bunch of time. So these are sort of like the transitions that if you want them to be good and smooth, you would have to go sort of like and take care of them and actually just put in the time and making them work, and try to make him work as seamlessly as possible. As you saw there in the eye part, there was a bit of a tweaking that you had to do with the spline tools, but yeah, you can actually pretty much do these by only using a mask on the actual color page, and then by animating that, you don't actually end up with a subject with a huge hole right there, and sort of like it's progressing as the camera gets closer to the eye of our subject. Or you can use that in the mouth or whatever you want actually. Yeah, so we're gonna look at the last part right here, how it looks, and then we're gonna end the video. So yeah, that is pretty much how you would obtain this effect. You can add a bunch of more new tweaks, like to make the actual second clip to be a little bit smoother, and it's best actually if you have two clips with the camera moving forward at the same time, like two drone shots for example. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for today's video. I hope it wasn't that long and that I was clear enough, and if you want to implement these effect sometime, I would love to check it out. And also, I couldn't finish the actual titles pack because I was working on the last part, which is the graphic elements part, and I had to like hand draw a bunch of stuff, and I just didn't really like what I was creating, in the sense of like, I don't know, maybe I was overthinking it. But yeah, so I will try to get that done during this weekend. So then on Monday, I'm gonna drop the 3 packs. It's gonna be a titles pack, a social media elements pack, so like the lower thirds that you saw in this video will be in that, and then the last one is the graphic elements that you can use to combine with the titles or social media elements, or just add to your videos and stuff like that. So if you want to support the channel, or if you like the actual items, and then yeah, so it will save you around like, it will save you around 40 hours or 50 hours maybe of production time. I don't have the exact number right now, but that is the whole amount of time that I have spent on it so far. I would also love to know what you want to learn next, what you want me to work on. If you have any requests, just whatever you want me to make and I can think of it, then I will try to make that happen. Without further ado, I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you in the next video here in SUALVI. Bye.